Greetings, my name is Travion Hodge. I'm here to present my research report on campus shootings in the U.S., causes and risk factors. You see, the purpose and significance of this research, it is a qualitative study. So I'm pretty much informing the people of the causes and risk factors of campus shootings. This study will focus on the importance of identifying the symptoms that may lead to a person wanting to commit a campus shooting. This study also identifies the after effects of a campus shooting has on its victims and the way society responds to it. Mental illness, depression, anxiety, gun access, and motives are key factors that this research will cover, along with prevention. I intend to provide a solution that may aid in the decline of campus shootings and its impact. Campus shootings have plagued the United States for decades, with one of the earliest being in 1991 at the University of Ohio when 6 people were killed. And this data came from Fulmer 2012. On June 5th, 1992, when a former student at Lyndhurst High School opened fire on a campus, killing 4 and injuring 10 students and faculty. There were many campus shootings prior to Columbine, but people neglect to try to identify this problem as a top priority until Columbine happened. Currently in the United States, there has been an uproar of pain and suffering due to these acts of violence. The significance of this research is to analyze the causes of campus shootings in the USA in order to come up with prevention strategies, and in an event that one occurs, find a way to alleviate the after effect it has on its victims and society. So pretty much in conclusion, that campus shootings have really plagued this country for decades, and people have been going through many pains and sufferings and PTSD, whether you are the one that even committed the act or the ones that suffer from the actual effect, the ones that have seen the dead bodies lay on the ground, and the people that have seen their loved ones and friends and peers and teachers murdered right before their eyes, and also the parents that have to deal with the fact that their children are not even safe at school at any moment, that somebody can come on their campus and ignorantly end their lives. And next, we're going to discuss the literature review. So, quick introduction that pretty much mass shootings are not new. Like I said, they've been a part of this country since this country was founded. Mass shootings have been a part of it. What particularly campus shootings is, I don't want to say fairly new, but pretty much that we're probably now really taking consideration how damaging it is and trying to force certain gun laws and stuff to prevent these things from happening, even though truth be told that we cannot prevent a person from doing a campus shooting, but we can pretty much try to decline how often it happens. So for prevention, when someone wants to do something they know little to none about, they ask someone or do research in order to learn about it. School shooters and potential school shooters do the same thing. They can have searches on the internet about several different types of guns and ammunition, may find in their history and the research of previous mass shootings, how they were conducted, and the outcome of these dreadful acts and events. Like, according to Langman 2020, seeing code names such as Indigo and Redamine can be clues of potential campus shootings by the trained eye. So I really want to discuss Columbine, which is probably the most infamous campus shooting ever to happen. Pretty much is really used to inspire other campus shootings. As crazy as that sounds, that Columbine was the first infamous event of a campus shooting of that caliber in the United States. The reason why the event was so important because many people that commit campus shootings now have researched Columbine and kind of in a way praised Columbine. The two predators basically in this shooting was Eric Harris and Dalen Hadd. They had journals and web pages full of their thoughts and how they planned on to execute this mass shooting according to Langman 2020. The journal and web pages of these murderers are the most cited campus shootings, and oftentimes people will use these methods from this incident in order to discreetly plan their assault, according to Langman 2020. Gun access and facts. The majority of firearms obtained by school shooters come from their own homes, come from their parents or their guardians. In states where gun ownership is prevalent, youth are more likely to die from homicide and suicide by the use of guns, according to Towers 2015. After a campus shooting has occurred, it is rare that the shooter would take their own life. They often are killed by law enforcement and pretty much suicide by cop. Not all campus shootings have casualties, with some shootings not even being directly on campus, but the area surrounding it. School shootings occur every 31 and a half days and have major increases since the last 14 years, according to Towers 2015. Some things that I learned from school shootings, that with the amount of school shootings going on a yearly basis, there has been theories on how to limit the amount. Limiting the amount of privacy a parent gives their children could catch something before it happens. The older kids get, the more parents are prone to give them privacy and monitor them less, especially in their teenage years. With school shootings mainly happening on high school campuses, parents may need to check on their children more at that age to check on their mental status, according to Langman 2020. Parents should not lie to protect their kids. There has been a case that a parent pretty much seen their kid doing wrong or brought a gun to school and stuff and lied to the faculty and the policemen in order to protect their kid instead of telling the truth and actually getting help for their kid. And this case was with Mr. Kinkle lied to protect his son. His son was found with having a loaded gun in the school locker. Mr. Kendall vowed to the officers that there was no more guns in the house and that it would never happen again. He lied, and it cost him his life and his wife's life by the hands of their son, according to Langman 2020. There's a process that teachers must follow when they have evidence of a student with a gun on campus. And Mr. Kinkle was a teacher at that same school that his son attended, and he neglected the due process because it was his son. Eliminating easy gun access in homes can prevent campus shootings by the hands of students. Parents oftentimes have guns hidden through the house, which children can find and use for whatever agenda that they have with it. Putting guns in secure locations such as a safe with a passcode will potentially solve this problem, according to Langman 2020. Take all threats seriously until proven otherwise. If you see a student post something such as, "I'm going to shoot the school up," it should be taken serious in this day and age. Statements such as this should be reported and dealt with by the proper authorities and immediately. Anyone can stop campus shooting regardless of your age. Pretty much if you see something, do something. And the back to talk about the PTSD over campus shootings is anxiety over campus shootings. There are American citizens who are in fear of going to school or to send their children to school, as I earlier discussed, because parents don't want to send their child to a school, especially after a school shooting happened in the surrounding areas on the news, and not know if their child can make it home and stuff back. That gives the parents anxiety, that gives the students anxiety as well, because some are scared to go to school, such as in Parkland, Florida, Columbine happened in the past, even mass shooting like the Orlando Pulse shooting, like even back home where I'm from, when we had middle school students, even though this is not necessarily shooting, but had knives in the bathroom trying to perform some demonic stuff, and they're in middle school. Things such as these make parents want to homeschool their children and even be nervous by going to work, not knowing are their child safe or not. So the anxiety is real and can create such things such as panic attacks, severe anxiety, depression, worry, anger issues. Like anxiety has so many different factors when it comes alongside of it. So just this certain topic of mass shootings, dealing with a life or death situation, is very stressful when it comes to households. Factors, when on trial, it was shown that 14 out of 27 school shooters reported to have a mental illness, according to the defense attorney, according to ARM 2021. Teens that are suicidal may feel that they have nothing to lose and suffer from depression. These could make a person more prone to violence. A potential school shooter can oftentimes act in the search of attention, a call for help in a way to express like a class clown. Campus shooters do not want to die in vain. There is always a message or agenda which is the reason for their shooting, according to ARM 2021. Majority of times, the attackers have told someone that they're going to shoot the school up, and 75% have thought about committing suicide, according to ARM 2010. College shootings. Even though the majority of campus shootings happen in high school, colleges have had their fair shootings as well. Like in August 29, 2002, the University of Arizona, 3 people killed by Robert Flores, who later committed suicide right after. So even though mass shootings are normally normalized on high school campuses, middle school, colleges, elementary schools, anybody's a potential target to a school shooting. And next, pretty much to conclude that literature review section, this review was based on methods and strategies and historical events that have occurred due to campus shootings. America seems to be plagued with mass murders who does not care about their victims or nor the damage that they will cause. Taking necessary steps such as taking threats seriously, checking on the mental health of students, proper reaction training, and just in case of a campus shooting could save lives. Using this knowledge from previous murders like Columbine and Virginia Tech has taught us that you can pick up on signs before that someone is about to do something drastic. Campus shootings will not disappear. Minimizing the occurrence and casualties can. So now we're going to go to the mythology. The introduction to this mythology is in this section that we will discuss the mythology of this research report. The topic is campus shootings in the United States of America, causes and risk factors. Open-ended questions are heavily used in this analysis, making this a qualitative study. This method will be used to produce the best answers that way a solution can be provided. Here is a breakdown of my questions, concepts, and variables. The research originating question: what are the causes and risk factors for campus shootings in the USA? My independent variables are causes and risk factors. My dependent variable is campus shootings in the USA. Identification of the independent variable. This study will use independent variables of causes and risk factors. The dependent variable is campus shootings in the USA. Research questions. The question 1 is, what are the causes of campus shootings in the United States of America? Question 2, what are the risk factors of campus shootings in the United States of America? Question 3, how do we prevent campus shootings in the United States of America? Campus shootings. To define a campus shooting, an attack of an educational institution involving a firearm with the intent to kill those who operate on the campus. Break down causes: a person or thing. Causes: a person or thing that gives rise to an action, condition, or phenomenon. Define risk factors: variable associated with the negative possibilities of an event can produce. United States of America, referring to the contiguous United States, Alaska, and Hawaii. U.S. territories are not included. One second, please. The reason why I've chosen this method is because there's no simple yes or no answer. We are dealing with the shooters who are mentally unstable and have gone through trauma. These questions that are asked have to be ones of instant that assist on explanation in order to understand the psychology of the shooters and victims. According to Babe 2017, my topic deals with emotions, PTSD, mental disorders, depression, anxiety that requires dissecting the statements and factors around each incident. Just looking at numbers would not benefit this topic because it deals with getting to understand the human psyche. Open-ended questions will provide valuable information since I will be doing interviews to get a personal understanding of how campus shootings affect people. Use information from Baby 2017. In this research, there were no harm to any participants because this was using pre-existing data. The method I've chosen is qualitative. Fast forward some. The next topic that I'll be discussing will be data coding. Once all information is gathered, the next step of research is to implement coding. Coding is used for researchers to test their hypothesis, which helps to them explain their experiment. Not all coding is the same. and it's broken down into 3 different types: open coding, exile coding, and selective coding. Using these 3 different methods will help bring everything together for research to continue their research proposal, our research report. Open coding is the first step when it comes to research proposal. Open coding is the initial classification of labeling concepts and qualitative data. In the open coding, the codes are suggested by the researcher, examination and questioning of data, Baby 2018. Open coding is when the researcher gets to look at the data they have discovered and questions that said data. Using those questions, the researcher must require sources to assist with their findings. Open coding uses qualitative data, and with this, we're looking for certain keywords such as campus, shootings, United States, less likely, more likely, college, high school, middle school, elementary school, are examples of keywords and phrases that we use in this research. The who, what, when, where, and how can be answered through these questions. Exile coding. The second step is exile coding. Exile coding reanalysis of the open coding results. Basically, all the information I gather in the open coding, the exile coding pretty much concentrates that and looks at the certain key factors that we actually use in this research. And finally, the selective coding is the third step. Selective coding is grounded in theory method. It builds the results upon coding and exile coding to identify the central concept. It organizes these concepts that have identified in a body of textual material, according to Baby 2018. After this step, that you'll be able to form your story and information that was discovered. This hypothesis technique is an example of connections that made with the main topic. So after using the pre-existing data in my research and pretty much discovering on that, I have now analyzed the types of codings and exile codings and everything, and I've begun to do my research. And pretty much throughout my research, I found some surprising key factors, which I would like to show. This graph that I'm about to show pretty much shows that 1 out of 48 campus shooters, contrary to popular beliefs, target those who bully them. Right here in this chart graph. Oftentimes we believe that most people that the movies like to show, that we got to believe the reason why they shot up a campus or they shot up a school or they committed this trended act is because they've been bullied before. But this graph, according to Langman 2017, Peter Langman, school shooters, according to this book, that 1 out of 48 school shooters actually target people who bullied them before. The rest haven't. It's literally stated in this book, Langman 2017, is that the reason why people commit school shootings, truth be told, majority of times that they're just psychopaths. In all honesty, there's something wrong with their psyche. Psychopaths are the main performers of campus shootings with the most inconsistent motive. That it's hard to get a consistent reason on why psychopaths want to commit these type of murders. Due to these people, many risks are presented, making these places of higher learning quite scary and hazardous. Something else that I like to show is question 2. What are the risk factors of campus shootings in the USA? So one fun fact I like to say, according to Mother Jones, that 70% of campus shooters, well, actually Jones 2012 and Langman 2017, 70% of campus shooters actually commit suicide. Either it's suicide by cop or suicide that they turn their own gun on themselves. But many people have to bury their loved ones because of this tremendous act, and it's kind of goes along with anxiety that you done seen somebody murder your whole classroom and classmates just for them to turn the gun on themselves and blow their own brains out, such as in Columbine, even some recording that both the two men in that situation turned their guns on themselves, counted down 3, and ended their own lives. The third question I'd like to present and some data behind that is, how do we prevent campus shootings? Also, contrary to popular belief, we oftentimes like believe that the vast majority of all campus shootings are performed by white males, when in actuality, it's still the majority, but actually 58% of all campus shootings are performed by white males. Oftentimes, campus shootings are performed by people within the area, such as, let's use Bama State, for example. With the campus shooting that happened in the past, all the people that committed these campus shootings were black males to be exact. So oftentimes depends on who's attended university or high school. Pretty much the surrounding population behind that can often lead to who's going to commit that act. So, in conclusion, this research was informative when understanding campus shootings in USA, causes and risk factors. We all have known the horrors of campus shootings, whether in person or by news, but now we have a deeper understanding. The more we dive into this topic, the more lives we prevent from being negatively affected by these tragedies. We must be able to accept the fact that we can't prevent all campus shootings that may occur. Due to this unpredictability, aspects of this topic, I hope that this research continues to be studied. That way we can adapt to the changes that may happen in the future. So, as conclusion, we got some time left. I like to go back and go over population, sampling, and sample. So, this subject population is, United States, Alaska, Hawaii, and the U.S. territories not included. So to go over sampling is pulling topics from a large pool of places, many different types, such as sampling error, statistics, sampling frames, sampling intervals, sampling ratios, sampling units, sampling random samples, are all versions of sampling according to Baby 2017. I'm using pre-existing data and we'll be using the statistics of pre-existing data, so I will be using a sample frame that way I can include a large population within my topic. Sampling frame lists of quasi-list of units composing a population from which a sample is selected. If the sample is not to be representative of the population, it is essential that the sampling frame include all members of the population, according to Baby 2017. I'll be doing sampling from my home with no physical contact with another person. I'll be using sampling frame for it best suits my research, and I will get the best results. My topic is the causes and effects of campus shootings in the U.S. So using a sampling frame is my non-contact research gives me a large pool of information. So what a sample is, pretty much, a sample is similar to sampling, but it uses small cases of data instead of that comes from your population and your research. With the sampling I've chosen, I will use a sample ratio to better suit my research. Sampling ratio is the proportion of elements in which population are selected to be in the sample. Forms of samples include sampling intervals, sampling ratios. Sampling intervals is the standard distance between elements selected by the population sample. Within sampling, I've chosen the sample ratio to better suit my research. Sample ratio is proportion of elements, and my sample will include age, classification, school, job, or where you operate at, ethnicity, gender, major, job description, and all of this will take place from my home using pre-existing data. To relate what I learned in conducting this research from planning research 1 class and then conducting the research in research 2. In all honesty, first I did not know that. I knew that some people had to do hundreds, even thousands of pages and stuff when it comes to different types of research, whether it's medical or social or things of that nature. But I never knew that in undergrad I have to do some research such as this nature and have 41 pages of information. Some people have more than me, some people have less. And the little tedious details that go along with creating a research report or even a research proposal. And I like the fact that the way that research 1 and research 2 was taught, it was very detailed, but pretty much the way the class setup is, if you do everything and do everything on time, you put us in predicaments to basically you get an A. You would check our work and say it's wrong or right, show where we got wrong yet, we fix it, get A. It pretty much is either you pass or you fail, because the only way you can fail is you legit just don't do the work. And I think I'll be able to, I know for a fact I'll be able to use to continue this, such as pursuing a doctorate, because I done looked at people doctoring, they pretty much have to do this in the beginning of all their work. I just never knew that I had to submit yourself to the IRB and be CITI certified and everything to even conduct research. You have to pretty much show everything ahead of time. They have to approve it. If not, you can get some serious jail time, fine, and stuff. All because of the thing that happened in Germany and also the stuff that happened in the Tuskegee experiment. But, it's all used for a good reason, because you don't want people doing certain illegal things. And it still goes on today that people are doing illegal research, but I'm just pretty much thankful. And this pretty much concludes. It pretty much concludes my presentation. I know it wasn't the best, cut on time and everything, but hey, this concludes my presentation on campus shootings in the U.S., causes and risk factors.